Virtually every civilization in recorded history has revered the aggressive spirit of the warrior in battle. In the United States military, the newest members of the warrior tradition are the U.S. Navy SEALs. The modern SEAL is a product of 50 years of ocean and freshwater battlefields. Along with their special boat units, SEALs operate in near total secrecy from public view and are among the most respected and feared special forces in the world. For the first time, outside cameras were permitted to document SEAL training and field operations throughout the world. Despite some restrictions, the events pictured here are accurate representations of present-day SEAL training and military capabilities. With over 144 sovereign countries accessible from sea, the U.S. Navy SEALs are designed to be a part of a silent option for U.S. foreign policy as the 21st century approaches. The SEAL name is derived from their capacity to operate at sea, in the air, and on land. But it is their ability to work underwater that separates SEALs from any other military unit in the world. Their experience with the unforgiving and unpredictable ocean shapes their identity and is the basis for their first rule of combat. The most efficient movement is the silent one.
A SEAL is on it, in it, under it, 1 foot in and 1 foot out, right in the middle of the surf zone in the worst of all conditions, in the dark, in the cold. And it's a tough operational environment. But the idea is to come from sea and to get back to sea. And that's very difficult to do.
Whenever a SEAL gets in trouble, he goes to the water. And that's the thing that sets us apart. And if we get in the water, then we feel we have an advantage.
The SEALs were created in 1962, descendants of the famous underwater demolition teams of Korea and World War II. Vietnam was their first action. This war was to be fought using traditional military tactics, which called for superiority in numbers and equipment to ensure victory. Although this conventional approach ultimately failed on the battlefield, Vietnam became a watershed for modern special operations thinking. With never more than 300 men in Vietnam at any one time, SEALs were brutally effective in adapting themselves to the situation.
During Vietnam, they used to be called the men with green faces because, according to the Viet Cong, they seemed to rise out of the ground, out of nowhere, with green camouflage paint to kill off VC. They were as terrifying as the VC were. In fact, it was the one war where the U.S. government fought fire with fire.
Sitting 6 or 8 hours in the water on a canal waiting for some VC to come driving by in his sampan so you could grease him. That got old in a hurry. And for two reasons. One, it's not a lot of fun sitting in the water 6 to 8 hours. And two, you weren't always sure who you were shooting. The legacy of Vietnam was a lot of people saw us as just that, hunters and killers, because that's what we did, and that's what we're paid to do. Well, to be quite honest, the most successful Vietnam operations didn't involve killing at all, it involved capturing. But killing was part of it, I mean, you can't get around it. We kept adapting, and in a sense, I guess you could say, that we did become a lot more like the VC than the VC themselves, and I think that's one of the reasons why we were so damn successful over there.
The ideal SEAL strategy is to win without fighting a pitched battle, accomplishing the most destruction with a minimal amount of effort. Their attack relies on intense violence and the impact of shock force to create a temporary appearance of superior strength. In any fight, it is essential that they first stun their target with an all-out fury, then quickly fade away in the confusion. At critical moments in combat, men must overcome conditions and misery they could never have imagined. For SEALs operating far from the protection of the main force, the difference between living and dying is measured in seconds. In this particular maneuver, called a center peel, a SEAL squad uses live ammunition while practicing a coordinated move-and-shoot maneuver. Despite the appearance of overwhelming firepower, an 8-man squad's rate of fire is limited by the amount of ammunition they carry, often not more than 4,000 rounds.
SEALs are not main force units. We don't have civil action teams. We can't come in and build churches and paint schools and do all those kind of things around the orphanages and stuff. Usually when they send us, it's a hot target and we're there to take it out.
Take him, Tracy!
We'll stay within the confines of humanity, hopefully. But it's a dirty business, and the three things come into play. We have to be decisive, we have to be aggressive, and most importantly, we have to be ruthless. There's just not enough of us normally, and when we get there, we have to take care of business.
If we're going to be described as bad dudes, we certainly can live up to that reputation in a tactical sense. We're highly trained, extremely aggressive, extremely bright young men, absolutely fearless in a tactical sense, and if that's the definition of a bad dude, they certainly fall within that definition.
Before Vietnam, and in the immediate years following, conventional military wisdom held that special operations forces could never affect the outcome of any conflict. This belief has been reassessed, however, in the face of two historical occurrences: the rise of international terrorism and the military collapse of the Soviet Union. As the emerging pattern of smaller localized world conflicts brought a timeliness for their unconventional methods, SEALs have continued their training in sabotage and surprise precision attacks, which sometimes could include civilian targets.
It is a different duty, but I think it's a necessary one. That, you know, some jobs are dirty, and you need the dirty individuals to do the dirty job. And that's pretty much what SEALs are. The jobs that no one wants, we're going to get.
I suppose there are those that are the brain-dead ones that go strictly by the book, and that's the way I would put it. The book is a guide. The book is there. It's kind of like the Bible. It's interpreted. You interpret the book and apply it in the best way you see fit. It's a good guide, and I'm certainly not a by-the-book man. Some issues I am when it comes to discipline, accountability, things of that nature.
Few forces in the world have the training to resist a SEAL surprise attack. Compact in size and heavily armed, a 16-man SEAL platoon will attack under any circumstances and can project